pause. Hey guys, how's it going? So today's video is going to be on the Mobius. Let's talk about it. So the Mobius, the first thing about it is its diameter. It's a big yo-yo. It's got a 58.5mm diameter. The next thing is its width. So the Mobius is wide. It's really wide. It's like 45mm. You know, for those of you guys who are like, Brandon, you were lying, like the outlier's only, like the outlier looks like a 46mm yo-yo, and like, here's the proof, right? Like, the Mobius is 45mm, so it has that much on the outlier too. Even though the shape of the Mobius isn't as like exaggeratedly flared out as the outlier too, it's a big, wide yo-yo. Now the final thing that kind of ties this all together is the Mobius's weight. The Mobius is currently sitting at a very light 62 grams. Maybe a touch above there, but around the 62 gram mark. Which means that this thing is a big, fast, floaty killer. So, how does this thing play? And this is where this whole reviewer kind of opinionated thing kind of breaks down, because this is my own yo-yo, and this is a yo-yo that, you know, obviously I have 100% financial incentive to tell you that it's the best thing ever, but gotta say, it's pretty damn good. Let's keep it objective for a bit. So what else is cool about the Mobius? The materials. The Mobius has a 7068 body, which means its body is slightly heavier than the outlier, and it's also got brass rims. Now, brass is like a very kind of dense metal, so even though we didn't put quite as much on the rims as we did with the outlier, it still packs like a punch. It's like a powerful, big floaty yo-yo. Immediately when you throw it down, it has a very kind of fast, competitive, but also a very kind of fun vibe. You know, this yo-yo is very reminiscent of, the weight distribution is very powerful. It definitely has that like fast, zippy bimetal kind of feel, because it's very exaggerated. The rim weight is like completely on the edge, and it's got like a brass metal right on the edge, so it's even more dense than normal. So it's got a very sharp kind of Draupnir-esque kind of shape, but it's also very stable. This yo-yo, it's like big and it's wide, but it doesn't compromise in stability. And this gap is like really tight. It allows you to do all of those like tight like binds and stuff. Oh, so this thing has got like capabilities for like tight binds right now. This thing is like, it's almost a little bit too tight, but I subscribe to the belief of like, when you first get a yo-yo and it's a little bit too bind tight, that's a good sign, because in like a week or so, you're gonna like break it in and then it's gonna be perfect. You don't want a yo-yo that's like absolutely perfect and then in a week it becomes like a slippy mess, i.e. outliers some of the time, which is why I thinned up the gap. So I'm really enjoying this 4.3mm gap. How does this thing play for horizontal? Oh. Whoa. Oh, still going. It had been such a long time since I had played with the Mobius that when I got this, it was almost like a new yo-yo. Like, that gap change made such a difference, because now it's like, it's got that stability, but before it was kind of slippy, which kind of made it a little bit gross. But with that thinned out gap, now this yo-yo really kind of shines, because it's got the weight distribution, it's got the catchability, it's got the size, it's got the floatiness, and now it's really got that. And it still has the catchability. Like, reducing the gap width doesn't really do that much catchability, but it does do wonders for how kind of the bind experience feels, and I really like tight binds. So this reduction in gap width has really made a big difference in my part. In terms of the finish, it's also kind of bead blasted, so if you guys pick one of these, because it's 7068, the bead blasting doesn't feel quite as good as the outlier 2, but who cares? Like, this thing is sick. it has a very distinct feel to it, you know? This yo-yo was inspired by yo-yos like the Overdrive, those like big yo-yos that, you know, were super catchable, super floaty, super competitive, and I think it's kind of like struck in kind of a flavor of its own. The weight distribution of like the rims, how they kind of wrap around, has a different feel to like if you just kind of chuck a Draupnir rim on it. And you know, now that like both the Mobius and the Outlier kind of have that wrap around rim structure, they kind of look quite nice together. You know, who wants like a Mobius versus an Outlier video? Comment down below. It's really nice to finally have one of these things, because when I was like kind of trying to hype up the pre-orders, there was just one awkward niggle, and that was I didn't have a Mobius. But now, oh yeah, it's kind of the backstory as to how I got this. The manufacturer was a little bit concerned whether this was gonna be smooth enough or not. And they were like, the thing was is that the person they got to like test the yo-yo out and to like throw it, it would have like really bad vibe. And I was like, ooh, that's kind of not good. I want to double check that. Turns out the person they got to throw the yo-yo hadn't thrown a yo-yo before, so that's why it was vibing. In terms of fingernail vibe, it's acceptable. I definitely think if you match out a few halves, it's gonna get there. So yeah, the only difference between this one, the ones you guys are gonna get when you pre-order it, is it's gonna have a little laser engraving in there. But you know, other than that, this is pretty much it. I'm really happy with how this yo-yo came out. Thank you to everybody who pre-ordered one of these bad boys. They should be coming soon, so I should be shipping them out. I haven't got the full run yet, but as soon as I do, I will be shipping out those pre-orders. And if any of you guys want one of these Mobiuses, the pre-orders are actually officially closed. But if I have a few left over from the drop, which I think I do, I will be dropping these. Kind of information to be confirmed though. But yeah, what do you guys think? Cool? Not cool? What? Bias? Anyway, so that's it from me. Any comments, questions, criticisms, post them down below, and I will see you guys next time.